Our next speaker has become a friend of mine, and he is the epitome of an entrepreneur. I love to introduce co-founders of companies because it reminds all of us that it's not individuals that form companies, it's teams. Teams that often have an older, experienced person that has unique knowledge of the industry, along with a young, maybe perhaps younger, but certainly a more disruptive thinker that pulls things together. And our next speaker, as you can see from your program, is Jeff Hoffman. Jeff has started several companies. He currently has a company called Collar Jar. But without further ado, I'm going to invite him to the stage. Please welcome Jeff Hoffman, co-founder of Priceline.
So I was in a good mood until I just found out that I'm now an older, experienced person. So as an older, experienced person, I will do the best that I can here. Go ahead and bring that PowerPoint up. So here's what I want to talk to you guys about today, the perspective from the entrepreneur. I spend a lot of time, and I'll give you a little background as we go through and do this here. I'm on the International Advisory Board for Global Entrepreneurship Work. I'm on the International Advisory Board for Global Innovation through Science and Technology, funded by the U.S. State Department. I'm a partner in a team of people launching a new, fully immersive, it's a new startup ecosystem called Venture Camp. So this is the area where I spend my time working. So my background, again, I won't take you through that, but I've been a serial entrepreneur. I've been building startups my entire life. For me, Priceline was the 5th startup I was involved in. I've done a total of 7. So I made a decision recently, last year, so it's been about a year and a half now, and what I decided, my whole life I've been launching companies. And somebody asked me what I do now, and I launch entrepreneurs. It's all changed. I don't spend time launching companies, I launch entrepreneurs, and I want to talk about the importance of that. Because one of the things that I realized is that everybody's focused, we're trained to focus on the plan. Okay, we have a lot of people that can analyze a business plan and almost nobody that can analyze an entrepreneur. And I'm going to explain why that's important. The first plan, the first idea that an entrepreneur launches, if it is a bad experience, we run a good risk of losing that entrepreneur. A good entrepreneur, I've launched 7 anyway. There are entrepreneurs that will continue to create value and continue to launch companies if they have the confidence to do so. So part of my argument for you guys today is let's stop judging the plan and let's start judging the entrepreneur. Let's launch entrepreneurs first and let them launch companies. That's how we can help them the most. So I decided that it's easy to say that. And by the way, one of the things that's written on the wall in my office that I fundamentally believe is I wrote on the wall, there is no they. And what I mean by that is people have a tendency, that's a good idea, they should do that. I hope they do that. I hope somebody. There's always this mysterious they. And one day I woke up thinking if everybody is waiting for them to do it, then no one's going to do it. So I thought instead of talking about helping entrepreneurs, I should just do it. So I kicked off, it's been about 14 months ago, I went on an entrepreneurship world tour. It didn't start as a world tour, but it ended as one. What I said was, in order to best help entrepreneurs, the only way I can really do that is to understand them before I understand their business. What are their goals? What are their plans? What are their passions? What are their skills? Why are they doing this? So I decided I would go spend time on the ground with entrepreneurs, and at the end, I'm on almost the end. I have an Africa trip left, and I will see you guys in Ghana soon. I'm almost at the end of, I went to pretty much every single continent and all across the world, but here's what I did. I wasn't avoiding governments, right, or anything like that. I just focused on entrepreneurs, spending time with them in their worlds, in their homes, in their offices, in their neighborhoods, trying to find out what they're doing and why they're doing it, because guess what? You can help a customer a lot better if you actually understand the customer. So I want to share with you some of the best practices, really, that came from that whole, from that tour. And here's the thing that I'm most excited about. Entrepreneurs are idea harvesters, right? Entrepreneurs are like farmers. You have to plant the seeds of lots of ideas. You have to water those seeds. You have to nourish them and then harvest them. Some of them grow and some of them don't grow. So entrepreneurs need to continually process ideas. That's how things happen, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. But here's the most amazing piece to me. Ideas, and it's about the power of an idea. I'll explain this picture in a minute. entrepreneurs as idea harvesters, the power of an idea is that good ideas don't care where they came from, right? A good idea does not care if you live in Africa, if you live in the United States, if you live in Brazil. A good idea does not care if you are male or female, if you are Christian or Muslim. It doesn't care if you are old or young. A good idea is a good idea. And entrepreneurs are people that find good ideas and execute them. Everybody has ideas. Entrepreneurs are the people that say, well, you guys talk about it, I'm going to go do something about it, and they execute them. So what really blew me away, and I'm going to speak on behalf of a lot of your countries here, is your entrepreneurs have ideas. Ideas are not where the shortage is. In fact, the reason that I have this picture up here was this was a trip that I was doing not that long ago in Cairo. And we were doing photos, and I was standing, if you can see, on the picture on the left are the pyramids, the Great Pyramids. I was standing near there. We were waiting to get ready to take photos. I had just come from Silicon Valley on this trip. So I had visited Google and the companies that, you know, sometimes you get that sort of American arrogance that we have some kind of patent on creativity. We don't. We have some good infrastructure that we should copy. But I'll tell you what, I went through Silicon Valley listening to entrepreneurs' ideas, and there was some great stuff. Then I was standing in the 6,000-year-old dirt of Cairo. And a young Egyptian came up to me and said, Mr. Hoffman, can I tell you an idea? And I said, sure. And he leaned over and whispered the idea in my ear. And here's what amazed me. I didn't say anything. I was like just quiet for a minute. And he said, it's so stupid you can't even think of something nice to say. I said, it's so brilliant that I am actually speechless, which just doesn't happen for me. I think by the time we are done, Google is going to buy this Egyptian company. The idea was so brilliant. The point is, the next big idea, the power of ideas, is the next big idea can come from anybody, right? It can be Dropify that just won the competition from Ghana. Everywhere I went, I found people with great ideas. What they need is help executing them. That's the piece that's missing, and that's what we're going to talk about. But it's a really exciting time. As a matter of fact, every day when I wake up excited, because every day might be the day you stumble across or think your way across the next big idea. Anytime, any place, anybody. And I just found that out, proved it by going to all these locations. I started typing a list of all the countries where I'm working with entrepreneurs, visited every single day. I didn't finish it, I got bored. But I got most of them on there. What's really interesting, every single week now with technology, even when I'm back, I look, Gary here from Peru, we talk online, whether it's Skype or whether it's email. Every single day, I talk to entrepreneurs on every continent that I can continue to mentor via Skype, via WhatsApp, via email. And the reason I'm telling you that is some people say, well, Jeff, you have the time to fly around in the world and I don't. You know what? That's an excuse. With today's technology, you can mentor from wherever you are at any time. I can do it on an iPad when I'm traveling. We always manage to find each other, whatever country we're in. So let's talk about probably the most important thing that you can do first. And this is what I started by saying. What people don't do is analyze the entrepreneur. They analyze the business plan. And here's what I mean by that. And I'm going to split this into two messages. If you are an entrepreneur, the goal here is that you need to find your purpose. If you are anybody but the entrepreneur, you need to understand their purpose. And here's why I'm telling you this. Here's the biggest thing that I learned while I was out there traveling and working with entrepreneurs everywhere. They are not, the glamorization of entrepreneurship is money, right? Everybody talks about, we're going to go get rich. Unfortunately, there are movies like the Facebook movie, Social Network, where the focus is on, we want to become a billionaire. But guess what? That's the exception. Entrepreneurs who are driven by passion do far greater things than entrepreneurs that are driven by money. And here's the good news. Your entrepreneurs in your countries are not all about the money. They actually are trying to make a difference. We need to help them make a difference. I will tell you about some of the experiences I had. I'm standing actually in Peru with a girl, a female entrepreneur who's well, I won't even go into it, but she was crying. I was holding her at a break between her PowerPoint because she said, all I want to do is build a world where my kids don't have to grow up the way I grew up. That is a passion. That is a mission, right? Entrepreneurship is not the goal. It's the shovel. What I told her was entrepreneurship is the shovel you pick up and start digging the path to a better future. Right? So step one is, what are their goals? I was with a young entrepreneur in Egypt. And she was talking about the fact that her brother bled to death in her arms pretty much the night of the revolution. But you know what she wanted to talk to me about after that? She wanted to talk to me about her business idea. You want to know why? Because what she said was, I want to honor his memory. The people that died in this revolution, the people that gave their lives, let's build a better Egypt. Let's build a future for them. Guess what the tool to getting there is? It's entrepreneurship. So as we go, I'll just tell you one more. There's a young lady in Africa that I mentor on a regular basis. Some days she calls me. She lives in a village where she's been told 1,000 times that the women of this village need to make food and make babies. You are not going to start an internet company. Her idea is brilliant. It is already on its way. It is going to be really successful. She can't always get help in her community. One day, one of my favorite days was she called me and said, I don't have a business question. I just need one of your Jeff hugs. Okay, and that meant a lot to me because they count on us for a lot more than how to analyze a spreadsheet. So the message I want to deliver is talk to the entrepreneurs. And if you are an entrepreneur, find out why they're doing it. What is the driving reason? What is the passion behind what they're doing? And let's help them do that for that reason, because that's really what it's all about. So in the end, a sense of purpose is the fuel in the tank. Today's entrepreneurs have a much better sense of purpose than a lot of people my age who are all about the money. There's a lot of entrepreneurs I meet in every country. They don't want to move to the U.S., by the way. They want to make their country a great place. They want to have the winner come from Ghana or their country. They want to build jobs. I had another woman in an emerging nation say to me, I said, what is your dream? And she said, Jeff, my dream right now would be to give a job to all my friends who are unemployed. That is not creating the next Facebook, but that is creating a small business that employs people and creates value and achieves a dream for somebody. That is worth doing. And that is why we do this and why we mentor them. So let's talk just briefly, won't spend a lot of time, but about the journey. And I just want to say this. The first step in the entrepreneurial journey, I already said, was harvesting ideas. You have to have an idea flow in order to be able to come up with a startup that works, a small business that works. And here's the thing. For idea flow, some people ask me, we were lucky, we've had more than one company that's been successful. What is it that you guys do? I'll tell you what we do. We get engaged. We get out in the world, right? We thrust ourselves into situations. I will give you the prime example. You are at an unbelievable networking event with people from 135 countries here. If you are spending time with the people you came with, you are wasting an opportunity. You should make it a point to meet 5 new people every break or whatever it is. You should ask questions like asking somebody, what is it about you that's unique? Something that helps you build your network, helps you connect to each other. When I sometimes ask people that, what is your strength? What's unique about you? You know what happens later when I'm building a company? I think, geez, I need Volker because this guy has exactly that skill that I've been looking for. It's about getting engaged in life. And it's about being out there, meeting people, trying things, networking, and not being afraid to live. The ideas come from being out in the world. That's where it happens. I ask myself this question every single day of my life. When you get up, the world moves very, very fast, and while you were sleeping, something changed. So every single day I get up, I look at what's happened in the world around me, and I ask this question: what could I do today that I couldn't even do yesterday? What new opportunity was created? Or what new person did I meet? Or what new event did I attend that gave me inspiration? Every single day is an opportunity to do that. The goal is to find your golden purpose. Everybody is good at something. A lot of times what I tell entrepreneurs is the perfect life is when your passion blends with your skill set. When the thing that you are most passionate about is something you're really good at doing. The truth is, if you have a job you hate anyway, you won't perform in it. So the goal of the golden purpose is try to think about what your strengths and your skills are and what is it you're uniquely qualified to do. What will you win at? What will you excel at? I've always had a passion for travel, so guess what? I went to the travel industry because I love being in it. Your job, if you're not an entrepreneur, is help them find a space that fits them, their lives, and their goals. Their odds of succeeding will be much, much higher in that way. Validate the idea. And what I say by this is, a lot of times when entrepreneurs come talk to me about ideas, the customer for your idea is probably not sitting in this room right now. Certainly in the early Priceline days, we had a very sort of low-income, lower-end customer. Sitting in your office, and I'm talking to the entrepreneurs significantly, sitting in your office is not the place to design a business. People ask me, when you get a good idea, what is the first thing you do? Because they think the first thing we do is go into our conference room and start designing it. The first thing I do is grab my car keys and leave. And they said, where do you go? I said, I go find the customer and make sure that I'm not crazy, that this is a thing that makes sense. Those pictures I showed there, if the picture on your left is your conference room and the picture on your right is what your customers look like, can you build a solution for them sitting in that office? Absolutely not. That is the reason that I'm going to Africa next month. That is the reason that I'm here. That is the reason that I try to spend time with my customer, the entrepreneur, because you can't understand them until you live a day in their life. So the last thing, and this, just in the interest of time, launch something is pretty obvious. But here's the deal. A lot of people look at the business plan, like I said, and say, well, this doesn't have a good chance of succeeding. Our goal is to launch the entrepreneur. So sometimes we encourage them to keep going even if we don't fundamentally believe it's going to be the best idea ever. What we are trying to do as mentors is give them education, experience, and most important, confidence. If you tell them every idea they have is not a good idea, and they're always discouraged, they never get anywhere. I'm not saying that you don't want the idea to succeed. We don't fund ideas that we think are just never going to make it. However, what I'm telling you is some of your investment needs to be in the entrepreneur. If you consider your time and your money only going into that company, then you'll never help an entrepreneur who doesn't have the world's most brilliant idea. That's a bad decision. What we need to do is say, I'm keeping a little bit of this money, a little bit of this investment is just in her to make sure that she becomes a successful, confident entrepreneur and keeps on going. So give them a chance to launch something. And I will close with this piece about one entrepreneurs, and I'm going to do this from the bottom up. Everybody talks about funding. And I do not fundamentally believe that the single most important need for entrepreneurs is funding. It's mentors. Many entrepreneurs, if I gave them money today, they wouldn't even know what to do with it. Funding does not solve problems. If you have no idea how to execute a business, now you have no idea how to execute a business on somebody else's money. That is not the solution. We get to funding. In fact, the first thing I try to teach them is how far they can get before they need funding, right? Because if they immediately go there, they're less innovative. Our goal is mentorship, and we got to get more people mentoring in more ways. On ecosystems, a lot of people talked about this already, but we have a lot of work to do in the entrepreneurial community. I was in a country recently where I said, why don't you just launch that? And the entrepreneur said to me, because if it fails, I will go to prison. And then I had a meeting with their government. And I said, you got to be kidding me. You're going to tell me you support entrepreneurship and you have debt laws with no exceptions for startups? They go to prison if their business fails? That's absolutely absurd. So what they're saying and what they're doing are simply not matching. We see those kinds of things in employment law, obviously in various financial law. In one country, I said, why don't you launch that? And the guy said, because it takes almost 6 months to register a business, and by then someone else will already have done that. We have lots of infrastructure work to do around supporting entrepreneurs. But I'm going to end with what I think is the most important plea here, which again is the most critical thing we can deliver to entrepreneurs is not money, it's our time. It's mentorship. It's finding a way online, offline, in the community, any way you can to donate some of your time to aspiring entrepreneurs to help them do that. I recommended to one government, which happened to be the Congress of the United States, that they implement Take an Entrepreneur to Work Day. Call the entrepreneurs in your community and invite them to come spend a day with you, or go spend a day with them, or have a reception or some kind of event where you're spending time with entrepreneurs. My final comment there is, I see a lot of events where we have one half of the community, and then I might go to a reception with a bunch of entrepreneurs. We're not doing enough together. We're not spending enough time where all the entrepreneurs are in the room with all the infrastructure, learning to understand each other. So if anything comes out of it, I hope that more people in this room, from the time they spend at this event, will find more ways to connect with the entrepreneurs, to ask them about their life, not their business plan, and understand how you can help them best. Thank you guys very much.